Welcome to the Wise Wolf Project. I am your host, Wise Wolf. It is August 19, 2010, 2:45 a.m. Over the past few months, I have found that a lot of Americans don't understand how the economic system works. They don't understand how the government works. They don't understand how simple the banking system works. And I'm a big believer that knowledge is power. And so I thought to bring to you the different government agencies, what they do, how they impact your life, different branches of government, the banking system. It's going to be a whole series, long series, as a matter of fact. And I'm sure there are going to be a lot of things I didn't know personally, but I feel it's necessary that we understand what they are and what they do and how they impact our lives. Because a lot of times, uh, what happens is people now don't understand how they could have lost so much in the stock market. Well, there are signs, but if you don't pay attention to them, again, knowledge is power. You could have empowered yourself to avoid or capitalize on that if you had um, not been unaware. So, today I want to speak on the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, or FDIC for short, and what it means, what it does, and how it affects you. Most of us have been to have a bank account, and so if you notice, it'll say a lot of times that your deposits are FDIC insured. Well, this is the entity that they are referring to. I got a lot of material to go through in a short time to do it, so let's get there. The FDIC was founded in 1933 by President Roosevelt by way of the Banking Act. At that particular time, they were having it was smack dab in the middle of the Great Depression, and they were having massive bank closings. So the FDIC was set up as a fail-safe, a safety net to prevent that. While the FDIC is within the Treasury Department, it's funded by premiums paid by depository institutions. So your bank, if you look around, if there should be something that says FDIC insured, and if that is the case, then you know that your bank is actually paying premiums to the FDIC for that insurance, much like a person paying Geico for car insurance. Now, the FDIC deposit insurance covers checking accounts, savings accounts, money market accounts, CDs, and even on their website, they purport that no depositor has lost a penny since the start of this insurance. Uh, Doing some research, I found this quite interesting, something I didn't know. The original insurance limit was 2,500 in 1934. And now, as you can see here, it's actually 250,000. So that's a hundredfold increase. And throughout the years, they've had to raise the limit. Um, so I just really found that quite interesting. Now, the FDIC used to have two insurance funds, but in 2006, a law was passed to combine those two into one fund, and that's called the Deposit Insurance Fund, or DIF fund, DIF fund. And I'm going to be speaking about that a lot more, that fund. Bank failures represent a cost to the DIF fund because assets must be liquidated for less value, and the FDIC must make uh, good on their promise to make depositors whole. So, when they're talking about assets, they're talking about loans. And this is the way it works. When a bank has a set of loans, could be car loans, home mortgages, things of that nature, credit cards, but it has a set of loans. Well, the bank is supposed to is required to put some reserves away, just in case it loses some of the value of that. So when you don't make your car payment, when you don't make your house payment or whatever, that's a loss that goes to the banks, and they are supposed to set aside some money to cover that. But banks don't really put away much, and therefore it doesn't take much for them to go belly up. And so there's a ratio between the value of their loans and the money that they have in reserves to cover it. And once that ratio is breached, they have so long to get it back in line. The FDIC won't just close the bank the minute that they go, um, once that ratio is breached. But if it is seen that there's no possible way that they can get back to a healthy ratio, then the FDIC then steps in to uh, to close down that bank. Now, if you go to their website, which is here, FDIC.gov, you will see in this box they always have the failed banks. Okay, and what will happen is uh, usually Friday afternoons, probably or evenings around 6 p.m. Central Time, they'll have the new banks that are closed. Um, and even if you go here, if you want to see a complete list of the failed banks, you can click there. Now, there are two methods for resolving failed banks. Those two methods are the purchase and assumption method and the payout method. The purchase and assumption method is where the deposits are of the failed bank are assumed by an open bank, and that open bank also purchases some or all of the bank loans. So that's purchase and assumption. And then you have the payout method, and it's basically just a straight payout. No one placed a bid on the failed bank, and so the FDIC is left with the burden of taking over it completely, and thus it has to pay the depositors for their loss as long as it's under the $250,000 limit, and that's the payout. Now, usually, let's just like this says Palos Bank, Palos Heights, Illinois, August 13th. I go here on the press release to find out where that is. Uh, so, and in here, what I'm looking for, this is pretty much formatted the same on everyone, but I'm looking for total assets. I'm looking for this. So I'll read to you. As of June 30th, 2010, Palos Bank had approximately $493 million in total assets. That's loans. And 400 and 67 million in total deposits. First Midwest Bank will pay the FDIC a premium of 1% to assume all of the deposits of Palos Bank. In addition to assuming all the deposits of the failed bank, the First Midwest Bank agreed to purchase essentially all the assets, the loans are the assets. And so this falls under the purchase and assumption method, um, so that the open bank, which is First Midwest Bank, purchased some or all of the assets of the loans or the loans, and it assumed the deposits. So purchase and assumption method, and that's how this particular failed bank was resolved. Now, I spoke of I spoke of let's go back. I spoke of the FDIC, and I wanted to learn a few things about it. So I went to about FDIC and who is.